Hello, fictional. Welcome to the crossover What Ifs. Today we are gonna see, what if Naruto got neglected by his parents and builds his own empire in Galaxy? Part 2. If you end up liking this video, please consider subscribe, so without further ado, let's get into the video. Come on. Get moving. Get those droids boarded now. One of the many clones commanded as the hangars were filled with clones and droids getting boarded, land vehicles being attached to their transports. I see that we are all set for today. Satel said as she observed. Yes, our forces will be ready in a few hours. By the end of the day our new empire will be established. Fu said as she walked up. Satel chuckled. Right, our empire of just one planet. Satel said. It's not just going to be one planet. Our deep space commutations vessels have picked up many radio transmissions in a certain area of this galaxy. I am sending you and Fu to see what these radio transmissions are. Take the second and the newly formed third fleet. You will have a limited supply of clones and droids, so make sure you manage your resources. You will also have a few Sith warriors at your commands. Naruto told them. Do you have any idea what we might be up against? Satel asked. According to our intelligence, we might be up against substandard space vessels. This means that there are species in this galaxy that have achieved spaceflight, but it's very limited, nothing like ours, but be careful. Also, the word Reaper was being transmitted a lot. I don't know what it means, but find out what it means. If it's a threat, then eliminate it. Naruto said as Satel and Fu nodded. When do we leave? Fu asked. You leave as soon as you can. Your fleets are already ready. Naruto answered. Both females walked up to him and gave him a kiss before heading to the hangar to board their shuttles. Naruto just shook his head. He turned around to see that the troops were almost ready. Now then let us begin. Naruto said as he headed down the hangar to board his own transport. It was time. Capital City 1 hour later. It was a normal day for the city like always, but it was all about to change soon. Naruto walked down the streets as he headed for the palace in the center of the city. Looking around, he could see how the people were suffering every waking moment. As he continued his path, he started to notice that the houses started to get nicer and nicer, along with bigger and bigger. Seems like this is where the rich people live, filths. They leech off the poor. He thought as he walked on. He was soon nearing the gates and near it he stopped soldiers, lots of soldiers, but he was not scared. Hey. You. Halt. A soldier yelled as other soldiers also approached to make sure nothing bad happened. Turn around, the emperor isn't seeing anyone today. The guard said. Naruto chuckled. Oh, I'm sorry, but you see, Naruto said as all the guards started to float and reach for their necks, but it didn't matter. With a snap all their necks were broken. I didn't ask for your permission. Naruto said as he walked past the dead soldiers. Walking up to the gate, he noticed that it was closed. Smirking, he brought his hands closed before he started to condense the force into a ball. The gate won't hold me back. He said as he threw the condensed ball of force and broke through the gate like it was paper. The gate's destruction caused all the guards to come rushing towards it and prepare for battle. The commander-in-chief, General Budo, took his time as he walked to the now destroyed gate. Come at me, Naruto said as he dived in with his tonfa sabers active. Soldiers rushed at him, but they were all cut down. Trying ranged weapons, they tried shooting at him, but he spun one of his tonga sabers and blocked all the bullets. If these were lasers you were shooting, then you would already be dead. He said as he threw his tongas, slicing many soldiers that didn't duck, but even then those that did were met with a force push that pulled them back several feet. Using the force, he called his tongas back. Spinning them wildly, the sabers made contact with the ground, causing sparks to appear. Come on, is this the best you got? Naruto said. The soldiers backed up a bit. This man, what was he? In the background, they could see small ships appearing out of the clouds and landing in the city. Naruto noticed and laughed. Your emperor's rule ends here. Naruto said as he started to levitate the chunks and pieces of the wall and threw them at the soldiers, who were crushed. Surrender now, intruder. General Budo said as he walked up. Naruto looked at him. The general was a very much buffed man, with some insane shoulder guards. Smirking, he put away his tongas and pulled his lightsaber. Sorry, but no can do. Naruto said as he ignited it. Budo got ready as he started to charge up his lighting attack. Naruto raised an eyebrow. What was this man's imperial arm? He did notice that the sky was getting darker and darker. Lighting crash. Budo yelled as lighting descended down to crash upon Naruto, but he was not afraid of lighting. Stretching out his arm, he used the force to bring the lighting into a small ball of force he had made in his hand. Dust was kicked up everywhere due to the attack, and when it stopped Budo stood straight. Looks like he was weak, just like everyone else. He said as he turned around. Who's weak now? He heard a voice. He was about to turn around, but he was met with his own attack. He cried out in pain as his own lighting attack was thrown back at him. Talk about thunderstruck. Naruto said with a chuckle as he started to walk up to the injured general. You, the general sneered as he started to charge up for his trump card. He fired an electric orb at Naruto, but Naruto just deflected it with his saber. Gyuto was in shock. That was his trump card that this boy had just deflected with his sword. Using lighting-based attacks against a Sith. That's the last thing you want to do. Naruto chuckled as he raised his saber. To be honest, Gyuto turned out to be quite disappointing. Bring down the sword, he killed Gyuto as he cut him in half. Now then, let us relieve the Emperor of his duties. He said darkly as clone troopers marched through the destroyed gates. Walking beyond the walls, they reached the palace doors, and once again he blew open the doors to the palace, blowing back all the Imperial soldiers. But the Jaegers. The Jaegers that had defected over with Esdeath were renamed and were now called Sith Inquisitors, which Esdeath being the commanding officer of all Sith Inquisitors. Even Akame had joined the Inquisitors. They had all been given the ability to wield the Force, however they had much to learn. Damn, that guy really knows how to do damage. Wave said as he looked at the amount of damage Naruto did all alone. He even killed Buto without even breaking a sweat, Run added. Bowles nodded. Indeed, to defeat Buto with easy he must be a pretty strong. Bowles said. He had forgotten his old outfit for a Sith-themed one, like the rest of them had. Akame and her sister stood by and watched the battle in silence. Kurum was feeling much better and was slightly suicidal after her mind was fixed. She had done some pretty horrible things during her time with the Empire, but Esdeath snapped her out of it, stating that they both were used by the Empire. From that point on, she was loyal to Naruto for saving her life and had developed a kind of obsession with him. Akame was also thankful to Naruto for saving her sister. Let's go, we have our own work to do. Esdeath said as she walked up to them. Behind her were about 30 Sith Inquisitors. The number of Sith Inquisitors was pretty small compared to the number of Sith warriors, but they were still valuable. With a nod, they headed out to carry out their orders, rounding up the corrupt and guilty rich of the city. Esdeath herself however headed out to catch up with Naruto. With Naruto. Try as they might, it was all for nothing. Naruto's troopers marched through the palace, killing all guards, which he himself headed for the throne room. He blasted open the door to the throne room and spotted a boy and a fat old man. I am assuming you are the Emperor? Naruto asked the boy, who only scowled at him and stood up from his seat. How dare you? You march into my palace and attack my people, I will. Whatever the boy was going to say, he was cut off as he stated to levitate and was being chocked. I dare. This isn't your palace anymore, and those aren't you people down there. You're just a blind, arrogant brat who can't even see the suffering of his own people. Naruto said as he used the Force and slammed the boy into a wall. Turning his attention to the fat man, he saw fear and terror in the man's eyes. Chuckling, he started to walk up to the man. Honest started to back away from Naruto as he walked closer and closer. He was about to make a run for it, but he found himself floating in air. Think you can run away? Naruto asked as a savage grin appeared on his face. Please. Let me go. I'll give you anything. Money. Women. Power. Honest cried out as he struggled. I don't need money, I already have a few women of mine, and I have unlimited power. Naruto yelled as he unleashed a torrent of lighting at Honest. The man screamed in pain, but before he knew it, he passed out and then his whole body turned to ashes. Stopping, Naruto admired his handiwork. Bad and lazy, that's what you were, Honest. Naruto said as he used the Force and lifted the knocked out Emperor and walked outside the palace. The palace had already fallen to his forces and he had ordered them to set up a transmitter that was linked to many large hologram transmitters. He was going to broadcast the execution of the Emperor to everyone. Setting the Emperor down, he nodded to the clone with the controls to go live. Citizens of the Empire, today is a day to rejoice. The Empire has been defeated. Naruto said as his hologram image was being broadcasted throughout the planet. For years you have suffered under the unfair and cruel treatment by your emperor, nobles, and even the military forces that were there to uphold the law. All of this is because of an arrogant child who could not see the suffering of his own people. This is that child. Naruto said as he pointed at the emperor. The boy shook in fear. He could feel the oppressive aura around Naruto. People in the capital were cheering at finally being free and the booing at the emperor and calling for his death. As such, I will end his life today so that he may repay for his arrogance and neglect. Naruto stated as he activated his lightsaber. The boy cowered in fear as he tried to crawl away, but it was no use. He wouldn't kill a child. The emperor cried out as he shook. Naruto looked at him with cold eyes. I killed my own brother, his wife and their unborn child. So why would I stop from killing a child like you? You who bluntly ignored the cries of help from his own people and some of your military officers. You committed a crime, and that crime was to ignore everyone else other than that fat man. So with this, say your piece. Naruto said as he lifted his lightsaber. The boy's eyes widened. This man, he was going to kill him. The worst part was that he had no remorse about killing him, a child. He's a demon. Those were the boy's last thoughts as the lightsaber came down, beheading him. The people cheered, as years of unjust rule was finally over. Deactivating his lightsaber, he turned back to the transmitter. And so with his death, a new era had begun, and with it a new empire will be born. I hereby declare the birth of infinite empire on this planet. Naruto stated as the symbol of the Starforge appeared. He wanted to create an empire that would last forever, and what better name to pick than oldest and the longest known empire to have ever existed back in his old galaxy. Most of the people within the empire's borders were shocked. Was this simply a change of dictatorship? Fear not. I will not rule like your old rulers. I will be just and fair. We will build this world like no others, and then we will expand to other worlds. Naruto spoke with determination. Slowly but surely, the people started to cheer. Naruto smirked on the inside. He had now acquired a base of operations and a capital planet with resources that haven't been even used, not like he needed most of them as the Starforge made them by feeding off the suns, but resources like food, water and such could not be made by the Starforge. But Fuwu and Satel. Fuwu's and Satel's fleets dropped out of hyperspace. They had reached their destination fast, and all of this was thanks to research and development in the Infinity Gates they had found in the outer rim of their old galaxy. The Infinity Gate was made by the Saurian Qua species of Dathomir. The gates allowed near-instant interstellar travel between far-flung locations. This was one reason why the Infinity Empire grew so fast. They would make the gates, but they chose to make a warp drive made out of that Infinity Gates technology. Now they could travel to any parts of the galaxy in hours rather than days, allowing faster deployment of fleets. Thank the Force for these new warp drives. Fuwu said as Satel nodded in agreement. Agreed, now then Satel was cut off as an officer approached her. General, we have detected a very massive space station. From what we can gather, it's about 44.7 kilometer long. However, it has no defenses of its own from what we can gather right now. The officer reported. Satel was shocked. A space station of that size, but it was defenses. She and Fuwu's fleet could easily destroy it. That's a big space station, do we blow it up? Fuwu asked. Satel's sweat dropped. Why did Fuwu want to blow up anything that was massive and floating in space? No, scenes are showing a lot of organic life forms. Satel answered and Fuwu pouted. She never got to blow anything up. General, we are receiving an open transmission from the space station, orders. A clone asked for orders. But it thought. Satel asked as Fuwu did the same thing. Attention unidentified vessels, this is Citadel Security, state your clearance codes or be boarded. An operator asked. Satel raised an eyebrow and looked at Fuwu. Do we have any clearance code? She asked her. Fuwu shook her head. I repeat, state your clearance codes or be boarded. The operator asked again. Seeing that he got no response, he spoke again. Then be papered to be boarded. The operator said as he cut the transmission. Ah, General, they sent out one ship, a clone reported as everyone stopped what they were doing and just looked at the clone as if he was crazy. Then they all burst into laughter. Who the hell sends one ship to fight two whole fleets? Ready the ion cannons and catch that ship in our tractor beams. Fuwu ordered. This was going to be fun. Ah, Commander Shepard, all of our systems have been shut down, even Edie has been shut down from those shots. Jeffer, otherwise known as Joker, reported. A few minutes ago, they were sent out to board one of the unknown vessels. It was the perfect choice since their ship, the Normandy SR-2, was pretty much the only stealth ship known to all the species. So how was it that they were detected and caught by the unknown vessels? The Normandy SR-2 has taken many dangerous missions before. Did you try rebooting the systems? Shepard asked as he started out the beat pit of his ship, looking at the unknown fleet. Already tried, but it's not working. Joker replied. Is it just me or are those ships getting closer? Garrus Vakarian said as he too looked on at the unknown fleet of warships. By the goddess, look at the size of those ships. And Asari be the name of Liaratsoni gasped as she looked at one of the vessels. I wonder if this is a new species or just a hidden fleet that was kept secret. Grunt spoke his mind. He was a Krogan and as such never trusting to others, not since that mess that happened back on Utaku. Shepard had chosen to spare the queen and Grunt had almost died, but thankful he had made it out alive by making the right choice. Easy there, Grunt. We don't know who those ships belong to, for all we know they might be a new species. Shepard said. Grunt grunted. Maybe they can help us with the Reapers. Garrus questioned. Everyone knew of the finial assault on Earth to take it back from the Reapers. It was a galactic effort and they would need every ship they can get. Maybe, but we don't know what they are here for, so watch out. Shepard said. Not to interrupt, but we got two enemy ships heading our way. Joker pointed out as two Imperial light cruisers approached their ship with their weapons ready. I don't think friendly Joker joked as everyone glared at him for making a terrible joke in this kind of station. The ships followed them until they broke formation as the Normandy was now beginning to be pulled into a large hangar with lots of soldiers waiting for them. As the ship slowly entered the hangar and landed gently, the clones started to surround the ship. "What now, Shepard?" Garrus asked his commanding officer, who for the first time didn't know what to do. "Attention personnel of the unknown ship. Exit the ship unarmed and you will be treated fairly." A clone commander spoke. He wore the Phase 3 clone trooper armor. The Phase 3 armor had all the benefits of the Phase 2 armor and had the life support system of the Phase 1 armor. Furthermore, the armor was equipped with a small shield that was able to take a few hits before it gave out and recharged. The armor was considered standard issue. "I think it's not best to fight them, I mean they do outnumber us," Garrus pointed out as everyone, but Grunt nodded. "I say we fight them," Grunt suggested. He was a Krogan, damn it. It was in his blood to fight. "I think their commanders just appeared," Joker said as he pointed at two females with unknown armor and wearing dark robes. They could feel the power from the two. One of the two, the green-haired one, approached the clone commander and asked him to give her the speaker. "You have a minute before you come out, if you don't then we will open fire on that space station," she threatened. That did the trick as no one on board the Normandy wanted the Citadel destroyed as it was a key in the upcoming battle. Nodding to each other, they all gathered at the ramp and opened it. Every single member of that Normandy was now standing before an entire clone division. "Commander, get a few engineers in that ship and find out everything you can about it," Sattel ordered as the clone commander nodded and ordered a few engineers to carry out the order. Joker, Kenneth and Gabriella were going to pre-test, but one look at the clone troopers shut them up. "Now then, who are you?" Sattel asked as Few joined her. "I am Commander Shepard, commanding officer of the Normandy SR2 and a Spectre of the Citadel Council." Shepard answered while trying to intimidate both of them. After all, they were just little girls compared to him who was an elite soldier. Few narrowed her eyes and clutched her hand, lifting Shepard up and chalking. "It would be wise if you didn't try to speak with us in that tone," Few said as her eyes turned yellow. The dark side of the Force might not have any control over her or in this galaxy for that matter, but using the darker side still changed the color of their eyes, but it reverted back once they stopped using it. "Few, enough of this, release him," Sattel said. Few nodded and released him, causing him to fall on the floor, coughing. "You'll have to forgive my sister, as she is quick to anger," Sattel said, causing them all to wonder if the two of them were really sisters. They sure as hell didn't look like they were. Then Asari decided to speak up. "We already told you who we are, now tell us who you are," she asked. Sattel looked at her before she looked at Few and nodded. "I am Sattel Shan, Sith Lord and General of the Infinite Empire," Sattel introduced herself. "I am Few, Sith Lord and General of the Infinite Empire," Few said. Everyone wondered what the hell was a Sith Lord. And what was this Infinite Empire? What is this Infinite Empire and how is it that we have never heard of it, and what is this Sith Lord you speak of? Grunt asked, getting annoyed really fast. "I am not surprised that you haven't. The Infinite Empire is new to this galaxy. You see, we are from a different galaxy. The Sith are just Force users," Sattel answered. Everyone was shocked that this new faction was from a different galaxy. "Why did you come to this galaxy?" Shepard said as he got up from the ground. "To start our empire and conquer this galaxy," Few said with a smirk. With Naruto. Things on Naruto's end were going very well. The first thing he did was exempt taxes from all villages, cities and such. This would boost the productive of the people, as they wouldn't have to worry about taxes for quite a while. He didn't need money for now as the Starforge supplied his armies and the bulk of his forces were droids. He had ordered another Starforger to be built and thanks to the massive amounts of droids, it would be built within 2 years. Speaking of droids, Naruto had ordered the construction of many droid fleets from the blueprints of ships belonging to the Confederacy of Independent Systems, Banking Clan, and Trade Federation. The ships would be far larger, stronger, and would have superior droids crewing them as the droids of the Sith were quite stupid. Clone commanders and troopers would also be present on those ships with droids, as sometime it was better to have a living being as a commander. With the creation of these new fleets, we will be able to expand our empire rapidly throughout this sector of the galaxy. As a result, we would have many more planets in our control and along with their resources. Our probe droids have already found lava planets with rich minerals and metals for warships. They have also found many green planets with no intelligent life. They would be great for future colonization," Naruto said as he looked around the round table. Present there were Esdeath and her group of Sith Inquisitors, Hinata and other admirals and clone commanders. Clicking a button, a large hologram of their capital planet appeared in the middle. "Turning our attention to our capital planet, it is severely lacking in technology, however I have already put in a plan for total modernization of the planet to bring it up to interstellar level." In less than 10 years our capital planet would be transformed from a backwards planet to a military, industrial and a political powerhouse, and thanks to much advancement in our research departments, the planet will use clean energy that will not harm the environment. Naruto said as he clicked again and holograms of many ships appeared. The next and last subject of our discussion is our navy. As you know, the Starforge has been making much of our ships and droids and other war supplies, however we need people building ships as well. The Starforge is good at what it does, but it also kills a sun in the process of doing it, and when a sun dies, it takes everything with it, and while there are billions of suns out there, I would rather not take the chance of an entire system being destroyed. As it stands we still need the Starforge, but when we have reached the point where people can make ships in shipyards, we will slowly move away from the Starforge, but make no mistake. It is a valuable asset and as such will be preserved and used when it is needed the most. With this meeting has come to an end. Naruto said as everyone dismissed themselves. Naruto gathered his things and then walked out and headed to his quarters. Once he put everything away he headed towards the bridge of this ship. An hour later. Esdeath. What are you still doing here? Naruto asked entering the bridge. There is something we have to talk about. Esdeath said seriously, but he could see her blushing. Naruto gestured her to continue. It's about Honest Son, Sierra. We haven't been able to find him, and I should warn you that his Tegu is called the Shambhala. That Tegu can manipulate time and space, with it he can teleport to any place he has marked with it. Also, the Tegu has the ability to travel through dimensions. Esdeath said. Interesting Tegu he has, however there is no such thing as dimensional travel. If anything, he most likely would send you to a different part of the galaxy. We will however Naruto was cut off as alarms went off everywhere. What the hell is going on? Naruto asked a clone. Sir, there was an intruder in the hyperdrive chambers. We don't know how he got there, but he was trying to open up a portal or something. Our response team was able to kill him, however the intruder seemed to have damaged the hyperdrive. The hyperdrive malfunctioned and we are being warped to these random coordinates. The clone responded. Naruto, what's going on? Your ship has engaged its hyperdrive. Naruto heard Hinata as a hologram of her appeared. Shut down the hyperdrive damn it. Naruto ordered. We can't sir. It won't respond. The clone responded as they all tried to shut it down. Hinata, the hyperdrive is damaged and has locked in some random coordinates. We can't stop it, so I leave you in charge. You know how to find me. Naruto said as Hinata nodded. We are entering hyperspace. An officer shouted out as the massive superstar destroyer zoomed past the rest of the fleet and blurred away going to who knows where. Be safe. Hinata thought. As she quickly began to work on what needed to be done, one of those was to find out where Naruto's ship had jumped to. With Naruto. I want to know where we are jumping to. Naruto asked one of officers. Well, we don't know where we are going, but I can tell you one thing, there is a sun waiting for us once the ship drops out of hyperspace. The officer reported. Naruto cursed under his breath, of all things it had to be a sun. What are our options? Esdeath asked. The officer looked down at his datapad and went through the list of many things they could do which was not that long. Well we could shut off all power, this would cause the hyperdrive to stop, thus letting the ship fall out of hyperspace however the chances of crash landing on a planet are pretty high. The officer said. Do it. Naruto said much to the officers and Esdeath's shock. But sir, we don't even know what kind of planet we might crash into, we don't even know if the ship can even survive such a crash. The officer reasoned. Don't worry about the ship. This ship can handle a crash landing and there is only a chance of us crashing on a planet. So do it. Naruto ordered. The officer nodded and gave the order as everyone rushed to their positions. Cutting all power in 3 2 1. A clone said as the lights in the ship shut off and all other functions. As the ship started to drop out of hyperspace, Naruto saw a round large object getting closer and closer, a planet. Shit, brace for impact. Naruto ordered. Maybe he shouldn't have tempted his luck. Restore all power now. Naruto ordered as the ship was headed towards the planet. We are trying sir, but it will take time for power to full be restored. An officer said as the ship jerked a bit. This ship's caught in the planet's gravity. A clone shouted out as the outside of the ship started to turn orange as it slowly entered the atmosphere. Turning to Esdeath, he found her surprisingly calm about the whole situation, in fact she was grinning with excitement. Naruto's sweat dropped. She had never seen a ship crash before, so it was exciting for her. She won't enjoy it after the crash. He thought, thinking about how many times he had crashed a ship. Safe to say, Naruto was not a good pilot. The ship started to gain more and more speed. He could hear the ship stretching. It's going to need repairs, but not critical ones. We can still get into orbit and go back once the hyperdrive is fixed. He thought. General, power has been restored. A clone reported. All powers to engines, full reverse. Naruto ordered as the ship's engine were now set to full, but regardless it was too late. Impact in 3-2 impact. A clone yelled as everyone was thrown everywhere as the ship dragged itself on the ground, leaving being a massive trench. Naruto holding his head got up. He really hated crash landings, and his luck with them wasn't all that great. Amma divert power to all engines. Stop this ship. He ordered as a few clones and officers got themselves up and did as they were told. The ship slowly started to come to a stop and stopped just in time to avoid toppling over another wall in town. Statues report. Naruto asked, and no sooner than a few minutes, an officer walked up to him with a data pad. Hull integrity is at 80%, shields are at 60%, we have received some damage on the lower levels, but noting major. The ships is still flyable, but I advise that we repair the lower levels. We have no deaths, but have a few wounded and some knocked out. Starfighters, vehicles and such all survived the crash thanks to them being locked in place. The officer reported. Good, scan this planet and see if we can find anything resourceful and useful. Naruto ordered as the officer saluted and went on to carry out his new orders. Esdeath, you okay? Naruto asked her as she got by while holding her head. I never want to go through that again. She said as she rubbed her head. Naruto chuckled. Looks like she won't be looking forward to the next time they crash. Anyways, you want to head outside and see where we are? He suggested. Turning to one of the officers he asked. Is the Vigil-class corvette damaged? Naruto asked. Since the Super Star Destroyer was so large, Naruto had it modified to fit a small corvette for his own use. He did so by creating another hangar bay on the port side of the ship. No general, the corvette surprisingly was unharmed. The officer answered. Nodding, Naruto left with Esdeath to the corvette. Walking in, both of them boarded the small corvette. The hangar doors lowered as the corvette started to float and blasted off. From the looks of it, it's a green planet. Maybe there is life on it. Esdeath suggested. Naruto nodded and activated the scanner, and just like that, hundreds of life forms appeared on the scanner. Seems like there is life, Naruto said as he looked at the scanner, while Esdeath looked outside the viewport of the ship. She noticed something and when she looked closer she was confused. Naruto, can you take an aerial photo of the place? Esdeath asked and Naruto nodded and did so. What he saw was the saw thing Esdeath saw. What the hell are those things? Naruto asked. They can be human, they look too mindless to be humans. Esdeath said. That's not all, it appears that our ship almost toppled over a wall. Naruto said, pointing at the bow of the ship. You call that a wall? Esdeath said. It was true, the command tower alone of the Super Star Destroyer stood at an impressive 285 meters. The wall, which seemed to be pretty long, only stood about 50 meters, hell even the hull of the ship was far taller than the wall. But it seems like there is also a town of some kind that the wall is protecting and more land behind it. Naruto said pointing it out. Then shall we land? Esdeath said with a smirk. Naruto smirked back. Yes, let us do that. Naruto replied as the corvette headed towards the town center where there was space to land. As the ship landed, they could see people approach it and surround it as well. Looks like there is human life on this planet, which is odd finding the same species on two different planets when there is no form of space travel to allow that. Naruto said while Esdeath nodded. It was indeed strange. The ship jerked as it finally landed. Getting up he grabbed his mask and put it on, while Esdeath grabbed a Sith robe and made their way to the ramp as it lowered. There was some steam as the ramp lowered and slowly they walked out. Naruto could see the figure surrounding his ship tense up. He spotted a small group of armed soldiers heading their way. Are those rifles and they're one shot too? Now there's a gun type I haven't seen in a long time. Naruto thought. At least Esdeath's planet had better guns, but these guys. Nope, they seemed to be wearing some strange device on their hips, with blades in their hands. The armed group of men finally approached them and boy were they scared shitless. The commander, from what he assumed, was downright almost pissing himself. Identify yourselves. The commander yelled. Naruto looked at him as if he was stupid. Why should I identify myself to a man who didn't even introduce himself? Naruto asked as the commander gulped. He looked at the blue-haired girl and could see her grin of bloodlust as if she was ready to go on a killing spree. Very well, my name is Kits Wowerman, captain of the garrison forces and commander of the 1st Division Elite Force. Now tell me who you two are, or I will order your deaths. Kits yelled. Naruto and Esdeath looked at him before looking at each other and bursting out in laughter. You think you can kill us? That is by far the funniest thing I have ever heard. Naruto said much to Kit's anger. But I will amuse. My name is Naruto, Dark Lord, Emperor and Supreme General of the Infinite Empire. The woman next to me is Esdeath, head of the Sith Inquisitors, Sith Lord and General of the Infinite Empire. Are you happy now? Naruto asked. Nonsense, there is no way a child could be Emperor, and what the hell is that thing? Kits replied asked point at Naruto's ship. Naruto narrowed his eyes and started to force shock kits as he started to float and tried to free himself from the phantom hand. To quote my old master, I find your lack of faith disturbing. I am well over 600 years old and am also immortal in a way. I could suck away your life force and add it to my own, but I won't because your life force is pretty pathetic. As to what is behind me, that is my starship, and what's fell out of the sky is also my starship. Naruto said, releasing Kits as he fell down and gasped for air. Backing away, Kits got up. Men open fire. Kits ordered and his men fired, hold for all the bullets to be stopped by Esdeath using the force. I can't have you damage my lover, you know. Esdeath said with a smirk that promised pain. She let out a cold breath, causing the ground before her to turn into ice, freaking the people out. She sent the bullets back to their owners, knowing out the guns from their hands. Esdeath smirked as she leaned her head back a bit to allow a blade to pass right in front of her. The owner of the blade was a teenager with light ash brown hair and about average height. Oh? You must be pretty brave or pretty stupid to attack S-chan from the front, Naruto said as he watched the boy's scared face. He couldn't move. Looking down, he saw that his legs were frozen in ice. Esdeath formed an ice sword in her right hand. Do you think I should kill him, Naruto-kun? Esdeath asked Naruto. Naruto just shook his head. Esdeath might have been saved, but she still had a bit of a darker side to her. Stop. They both heard as an old bald man walked into the square. Along with him was a blonde-hair man who stood at an impressive 6'2" and had his blonde hair parted to the left side. The man next to him was a short and had straight black hair styled. His eyes were narrow and an intimidating gray with dark circles under them. He seemed like a teenage, but Naruto and Esdeath knew better. Forgive this new recruit. He just got out of training. The bald man said as Naruto looked at him. Esdeath, release him. Naruto ordered. Esdeath nodded and released the captured teenager from the ice. Thank you, now then, my name is Pixis. To my left is Commander Erwin Smith of the Survey Corps and to his left is Levi Ackerman, or otherwise known as Captain Levi. The bald man now named Pixis introduced himself and the two other. So I assume you are the commanding officer of this town? Naruto asked and Pixis nodded. I see, now then, tell me what is up with those walls. Is the job of those walls to keep those massive beings outside? Naruto asked, earning surprise looks from everyone. You don't know what those walls are there for? Erwin asked with curiosity. Well, seeing that I and Esdeath here are not from this world, but rather we crash-landed on your planet. You did notice the large ship right in front of your wall? Naruto asked, shocking them. That was a ship. What the hell is a planet? That can't be a ship. It's too big and it doesn't even look. Erwin was stopped as he heard a beeping sound from Naruto. Naruto raised an eyebrow and pulled out his transmitter. Turning it on, the hologram of an officer appeared. Sir, our engineers have given the ship a go-ahead to launch. We can take off at any time. However, I do have to report you that we have been seeing some strange humanoid creatures. We have killed quite a few of them, but more keep coming. They are not a treat as they are even shorter than the wall, they can't reach the ship. Also, we were able to receive a message from General Hinata. It seems like she sent a fleet of droids to aid us. The officer reported, and just then everyone heard sonic booms and looked up at the sky, their eyes widened. Naruto and Esdeath just smirked. It wasn't just a fleet, it was more an army consisting of 15 Munificent class, 6 Providence class and 4 whole Lucrehul class LH-310 cargo freighters. You are clear for takeoff, but do not join the rest of the fleet yet, stay on standby. Naruto nodded. The officer nodded and cut the transmission. Just then the ground shook as everyone tried to hold on to something. Look. Someone shouted and they all looked only to see the massive Super Star Destroyer slowly levitating higher and higher. The sheer size of it inspired fear in their hearts. This ship was not a Titan, no, it was a behemoth. Now then, Commander Pixis, I believe that we were talking about something. Naruto asked. Right, follow me so we can talk in private. Pixis said. Naruto nodded and turned towards Esdeath. Esdeath, you guard the ship. He said. You can count on me. She said with a smile. With that she made an ice chair and sat down on it. Well then, lead the way. Naruto said, following Pixis and the other two. An hour later. I see, so these Titians kill only humans for no reason. And these walls, they are 100 years old. Correct? Naruto asked as Pixis nodded. Bullshit. Naruto said, causing everyone in the room to look at him if he was insane. What part of it is bullshit? Levi asked as he leaned against the wall. The walls, first off, these walls are massive for your people, standing at about 50 meters. They are also long. So think about it, how could the humans, who were hunted by these Titians endlessly, build such long and tall walls without getting eaten? Naruto asked. Everyone blinked at that. How come no one ever thought of that? So what you're saying is that something or some else built these walls? Erwin narrowed his eyes. Could the king know of this? He never trusted the government as they would suppress all kind of knowledge that could save humanity. You're smarter than you look, but yes, someone or something else did build those walls. Now then, since you have told me your story, it's time I told you mine. You see, I am not of this world, hell, I am not even of this galaxy. I and my friends traveled to this galaxy and it took us 600 years to reach. We were able to establish a capital planet for our new empire and have began expanding. There was an intruder on my ship and in the ensuing fight, the hyperdrive was damaged and that is how we got here. Naruto explained. He told them about what a Sith was and even his military might. However, before they could more, a guard rushed in. Bullrose has been breached. The guard said, rushing in, causing most of the people to panic. Calm down. Have the civilians evacuate and get the rear guard to defend the city, along with 104th Trainee Squad. Pixis ordered as everyone started to dismiss themselves to carry out their orders. Erwin turned to Naruto. I know that you owe us nothing, but can you please help us? Your technology far surpasses anything we have seen. Erwin asked. Erwin was a realist. He didn't blindly believe in his king, and he knew that humanity would fall if they could not achieve even a single victory over the Titans. He saw Naruto smirk. I will help, but know this. This planet will become part of my empire, and any rebellious elements will be dealt with extreme prejudice. He said, getting up. Erwin would have protested the proclamation made by Naruto, but if he was honest, it was better if the planet was part of this empire, rather than a king who cared little for his people. Thank you. Erwin said before he left to command his forces. Naruto stood up and headed back to his ship. As he walked slowly to the ship down the street, people were wondering if he was a madman. They were under attack and he was just walking around like nothing was happening. The group of people ran past him as they screamed in fear. The reason was a Titan that was running after them, but it stopped upon looking at Naruto. The smiling Titan's smile turned to that of fear as it looked down at Naruto. It could feel the dark and powerful aura Naruto gave off. Naruto kept walking as the Titan backed away in fear. The people looked at the scene with wide eyes. You're in my way. Naruto said. Using the force, he lifted the Titan up as it struggled to free itself, and with his mind along, Naruto started to crush the Titan into a ball. Some of the onlooks cheered, while some threw up at the gruesome sight. He then threw the ball at an incoming Titan's face with great force, causing the head of the said Titan to fly off. With that, he headed to his ship. Esdeath would be bored to death already by now. But Esdeath yawned as she sat on her chair, freezing Titans that tried to eat her. "BFF, you mindless creatures are less of a challenge than the danger beasts," she said. It was rather easy killing the Titians. All she had to do was freeze them and then shatter the ice in thousands of pieces. Just then she saw Naruto. "Naruto, about time you made it back," Esdeath said. "Sorry, I didn't think it would take that long. Anyways, contact the fleet and tell to send down the droids and clones, along with walkers, at Street S, at PTs, at ATs, 8 and lots, are to be deployed as well. Also, order all vulture droids to engage the enemy. From what I know, the Titians will only attack humans, so droids would have an easy time killing them," Naruto said. Esdeath nodded. "What about us?" she asked as Naruto smirked. "Well, we are going to kill Titian," Naruto said as Esdeath nodded and went inside the ship to give out the orders. "Now then," Naruto said, activating his lightsaber and turning around to see 6 Titians. "Let's see how well you do against a Sith," he said with a sinister smirk. It was over. She was going to die. Eren was dead, eaten by a Titan from what Armin reported. Now she had nothing to live for and now she waited for her death as a Titan approached her. How did it turn out like this? It was like another normal day until that colossal Titan appeared and smashed the gates of the wall. Titians swarmed the small town, and soldiers were rushed all over the place, some to defend, others to attack. Eren was one of those who was charged with the attack. From what she knew, his squad suffered massive casualties. "I guess this is the end," she thought as the Titan extended its hand round to grab her, but the Titan was pushed back several feet with great force, causing it to smash into a building. "What are you doing?" she heard a distorted voice behind her. Looking back, she saw what seemed to be a man in strange armor. His face was covered up by his mask and he had a strange sword in his hand. She could see the man look into her very soul, as if trying to find the reason behind her actions. "If you want to die, then die fighting. I am sure that your comrade's death would have been in vain. Would they really want for you to just give up and get yourself killed?" the man said, as another Titan appeared behind him and tried to grab him. She was going to warn him, but just as the Titan was about to close its hand, the man disappeared and the Titan's head fell off. She saw the man standing on top of the Death Titan's body. How did he move so fast? I didn't even see him, she thought. Do you not want to live for yourself rather than others? He asked her. Her eyes widened. Wanted to live. Was she truly even living all this time? All this time she was only living to protect Eren and maybe her comrades, but did she for once think about her own life? She was so willing to die for Eren, even though he never saw her advances. She was like a sister to him. That's what she will always be to him. If you want to live then go down this road, it's clear of titans. Naruto said, pointing to a road full of dead titans. She slowly nodded. The man turned around to leave. Wait. What's your name? She asked him. The man turned around and she could almost see the smirk behind his mask. Should you give me your name first, but very well, my name is Naruto. He gave his name. My name is Mikasa Ackerman. Mikasa said as Naruto nodded. Nice name, now get going. My forces will deal with these titans. Naruto said, turning around and jumped on a roof. Mikasa was pretty shocked. How the hell did he do that? Then all of a sudden there was a shadow that blocked the sun. She thought it was a titan, but looking up she saw a massive thing flying in the sky, and there were more of them. Then even smaller objects flew over her at fast speed. Just what the hell was going on? But Naruto. Esdeath, head to the main gate and seal lift off with your ice. Naruto said over the communicator. Understood, come here you titans. He heard Esdeath over the communicator. He shook his head. At least someone was having fun. Looking over, he saw vulture droids heading over to the wall, some landing and engaging titans. The titans stood no chance against the laser blasts from the droids. He was informed about the Titans' regeneration, so he ordered all units to have their blasters set to full power. This would leave an injury so bad that regeneration would be negated. A lightsaber was a great example of just a weapon. Looking ahead, he could see many lots drop squads of clone troopers, all of them equipped with jetpacks. Walking up to them, they noticed him and all of them got down on one knee. General. The clone said. Naruto waved his hand and the clones got up. What is the statue of the Titans? Naruto asked as the clone commander of the unit pulled out a holographic map of the town and the walls. Our forces have begun to eliminate all titans within the town, while the droids have been deployed outside the walls. They are combating the titans, but it seems like the titans are not attack the droids. The fighters are also providing support as well. We have yet to take any real casualties, we got some wounded and that's about it. At this rate, we will have the town secured within 3 hours. The clone commander reported. Good, you and your squad will follow me and make a beeline to the main gate. Kill all titans on sight. Naruto ordered as the clones nodded. Activating his saber, he jumped on the roof and started to head to the main gate, with his clone troops using their jetpacks to aid them. 104th Trainee Squad. The 104th Trainee Squad or what's left of it was surrounded. They had almost reached main building in the center of the town to resupply on gas, but before that could happen, at least 10 titans had cut of them off, and now they were out of gas. Damn it. We need to get to that building, but how? We are out of gas, I guess this is how it ends. Jean thought as he gave up all hope. Hell, even Armin didn't know what to do. Just when they all gave up hope, they heard a strange mechanical sound, followed by the sounds of heavy footsteps. Look. Someone shouted out as they all looked at the direction that the unknown had pointed at, and they saw wired 6-legged machines with some kind of cannon. There were 2 of them. With one being on the right side front and the second being on the left side back. Just then, the cannons on the 2 fired. The shot moved too fast for them to even see what happened, and then they started to fire smaller 4-mounted cannons in the front, ripping through the titans like knife cuts through hot butter. They were awed at the firepower that those machines had. Then they heard a strange sound landing behind them. Turning around, they saw 6 people, all the same heights, and strange armor. You need to retreat now, we have this under control. One of the white-armored men said. His armor had a bit of blue on it. Right, but we are out of gas and can't move without it. Jean said. Then out of nowhere 2 AD-RT appeared. Sir, General Naruto has ordered all jet troopers to go on the offensive. One of the AD-RT users reported. Understood, also, can you escort them to the inner wall? The commander asked. Can do, sir. The clone answered. Good, listen up, these 2 will lead you to the inner walls, just follow after them via the roof or the streets, and they will keep safe. The commander said as he and the rest of the jet troopers took off, heading towards the outer wall. Well then, come on. The AD-RT pilot said, heading towards the wall at walking speed. Hey, are you sure that this small machine will keep us safe? Armin asked. BFF, this baby here can outrun a horse any time of the day. One of the pilots said, as the other chuckled. AD-RT was very fast and had good firepower for its speed. Just follow us, we will get you there safely. The other clone pilot said. The others nodded started to follow the AD-RT. Armin however decided to gather some information and asked a question. So who are you? Armin asked one of the pilots as the pilot chuckled. I am Speeder, though my clone trooper designation is Ka-4538, up ahead is Rusher, his clone trooper designation is Ka-4539. The clone named Speeder replied. Clone, what do you mean? Armin asked, as everyone was now interested. Speeder, do you keep forgetting that we are on a primitive planet? They don't even know half the things you just said. Rusher yelled from up front. Lay off, damn it. I spent about 600 years inside a chamber, sleeping. So give me a break. Speeder countered. Sighing, he turned to the 104th. Anyways, me and Rusher are clones, well, the entire organic part of the Empire's armies are clones, other than the generals and Sith warriors. We were all cloned from a single template. So we are all genetically identical. Speeder tried to explain as best as he could. Armin and the rest understood what he said as they were all shocked. Clones. If they could clone humans, then they could create an army of clones. But, why would they need clones? Jean asked. Well, you see, back from where we come from, there was a war called the Clone Wars. They were called the Clone Wars because the Republic needed an army to combat the enemy that commanded a massive army of droids. Since the Republic was at peace for many hundreds of years, the need for an army started to decline, and as such there was no army. Recruiting and training a traditional army would take too long, so the Republic raised a clone army to fight the war. As such, the clones became a big part of the Republic. When the Republic was replaced by the Galactic Empire, the cloning process was stopped and cancelled by the Emperor due to a rebellion of clones. General Naruto was the one who inducted a clone army again, since clones are far superior soldiers due to use breed and trained for war. Speeder answered. Right, and yet you can't aim for shit. Rusher said from the front. Yet you can't even wait for the squad to move with you, there is a reason why your name is Rusher, always rushing in first. Speeder said, as he shook his head. Tell you what, after we get these wet behind the ear soldiers to the inner wall, let's see who can kill the most titans. Rusher suggested. You're on. Speeder said with determination. How can you treat this like it's a game? One of the trainees asked. Kid, we have seen much worse things than these titans, besides, I would rather get eaten alive, rather than suffocate in the vacuum of space. Speeder answered as Rusher nodded to that. Space? Armin asked. Speeder just pointed to the sky. Armin gave a confused look. Once you leave the atmosphere of a planet, you enter what is known as space. In space, there is no oxygen, no gravity, so you just float around and you suffocate in space since there is no oxygen out there. Rusher answered. Armin was now interested even more. He had always wanted to see the ocean that his grandpa used to talk about. Now, there was something beyond the ocean. Are there worlds out there? Armin asked. There are many different worlds out there and all with different kinds of geography. Back in our world there was a planet called Hoth, and it was an all-ice planet, and a planet called Mustafar, and it was a lava planet. If you can think about it, then it's bound to exist somewhere out there. Rusher replied. Armin was now awed. He didn't want to see the ocean now, he wanted to see the vast world that lay beyond his own world. He wanted to see space for himself. So, you're from a different world? Connie asked, wondering if that was even possible. Speeder nodded. As they neared the wall, they heard footsteps of someone running. Looking forward they saw a titan running towards the inner wall's gate. Well, there is my first kill. Rusher said and charged at full speed at the titan. Oh now you don't, Speeder said and charged as well, and like his name suggested, he passed Rusher and started firing his AD-RT blaster cannon. He aimed for ankles of the titan and hit them, causing the titan to fall. Using the speed of his AD-RT, he jumped on top of the fallen titan's back and made his way to the neck. Once he reached the neck, he started firing the cannon rapidly. He literally separated the titan's head with its body, kill it. Damn it. Rusher said as Speeder chuckled. And that's why they call me Speeder. Speeder said. Turning around, he spotted the tired members of the trainees squad. Well, the wall's right there, so our job is done. Rusher said as they were about to leave, but their transmitter started to beep. Pulling it out, Speeder activated it out. All units, the town is now clear. All units are to report by the inner wall. Jump troopers and 8 are to remain near the outer wall. The commander said. Well, it looks like we are staying here a bit longer. Speeder said, putting the transmitter away. I wonder how General Sattel and Fuwu are doing. Last I heard, they had encountered many new species that have space travel. Rusher said, throwing his hands behind his head. Speeder said. But Sattel and Fuwu. We will help, but on one condition. Sattel said, after listening the story of Shepard. Narrowing his eyes, Shepard wondered what this condition was. You and all council members will surrender to us and be annexed into our empire. Refuse, well, you can fight off these reapers on your own, and if you do win, the empire will defeat you and take this world by force. Sattel said. Sattel was one known to take the opportunity when it presented. You can't be serious. Humanity and many other species are a threat here. Shepard shouted. Humanity is not under threat, as there are many more humans out there, beyond the Reaper's reach. As for the rest of the species a threat here, I don't care. If they die, then it only aids the Infinite Empire, as that will allow us to take the planets in this sector of the galaxy easily. Satel said. But the Reapers will attack you too since you are an advanced people. Liara said, trying to use the Reaper threat against Satel and Few. The Reapers are no threat to us. Our ships have far more advanced weaponry. If that fails, then our super weapons will take care of the Reapers. Our fleets are far larger than all of your fleets combined. We have millions of clones at our command and billions of droids as well. If we were to invade, you wouldn't have the manpower to combat our invasion on many different fronts. Few refuted. She was not going to allow a threat like the one Liara said to come to life. And we negotiate? Garrus asked. The Reaper threat was a high priority right now and they need every ship then could get. The terms are non-negotiable. You either agree or leave and fight off the Reapers yourself. Satel said. Grunt started to get annoyed. Grabbing his gun, he stepped up and tried to grab her. Look here girl, you will help us or Grunt was cut off as Satel raised her hand and started to electrify him. He screamed in pain as the rest of the Normandy crew stood there shocked. They couldn't do anything as they had many clones with their guns trained at them. Satel stopped her ruthless assault on the Krogan. First of, I am not a girl, second of, do not make demands of me or my subordinates and thirdly, never touch me, only one man has the right to do that. She stated as her eyes turned yellow for a while. General, we have inspected the ship and have taken any and all data. An engineer reported to Few. Good, get that data to the R&D branch. Tell them to see if they can make superior fighters and small vessels of that caliber. Few ordered. While the Empire had many different fighters, they still required an ideal size small attack craft that could be stored in numbers in their vessels and could perform all types of roles, from bombing to attacking. The Normandy might be far behind in terms of firepower, in contrast to the Empire's starships, it did have the ideal hull for such a vessel that the Empire demanded. She would let the R&D branch come up with a new ship. It seems like they won't agree Satel. What shall we do? Few asked. Satel closed her eyes and thought. If you're not going to agree, then leave. Satel said shocking the crew of Normandy and Few. But Satel, we can't just let them go. We need to either kill them or take them prisoners. Few protested as the crew of Normandy boarded their ship. Few, if we take them prisoners, their collected fleets will attack us and if we kill them, they will still attack us and even though we can win. We will take some losses and I would rather avoid that. Let them fight with the Reapers and weaken themselves. During his final battle that is coming up, we will attack both the Reapers and the Allied fleets as they fight with each other. Satel said. But what's there to say that they won't attack us now? Few asked. Satel sighed. Few was a great fighter, but she didn't have the experience that a general should have, and that was the reason why she was assigned with Satel, to gain experience. Because if they attack us now, they will lose a lot of ships, and they know they will lose, and even if they do win somehow, their forces will be too weak to stop the Reapers. If the Reapers win, all organic life dies in this sector of the galaxy, but if we win, we only rule over them. They will choose to attack the Reapers. Letting us rule of them is a far better fate than being killed. Satel said. Few thought about for a second and nodded. That makes sense, guess I really need to think longer term. Few said as Satel giggled. Don't worry, you will make a fine General Few, after all, you are on hell of a fighter. Satel said as both of them head to the mess hall, they were hungry after this whole ordeal. Naruto deactivated hit lightsaber as he killed the last of the Titans. He started to head back and along the way he bumped into Esdeath. Esdeath, how many Titans did you kill? Naruto asked her as she gave him a smirk. 46. Esdeath answered. Naruto merely smiled. 56. Naruto answered as Esdeath sighed in annoyance. Naruto chuckled as he moved in to give her a peck on her lips. Her annoyance was now gone and replaced with happy smile. She latched onto his right arm as both of them made their way to the inner wall. So, what's next? Esdeath asked him. We will have to remove the government of this planet if we are to take charge, not like they can do anything about it. Naruto said as Esdeath giggled. What about that little project of yours? Esdeath asked him. Naruto had a thoughtful look. He's coming along nicely, honestly I am surprised that he survived getting shot by Kenobi, but then again, Sidious did keep him alive in a Bacta tank, but it was his will to live that kept him going. Naruto said, talking about his project. Is his mind still intact? Esdeath asked. Surprisingly, a little bit of his brain remained safe and unknown to Sidious, it kept healing in the Bacta tank. It would take a long time for him to be healed, but I think 600 years of healing would have grown his brain and organs that have been replaced. I think we should pay him a visit. Naruto said as Esdeath nodded. Naruto called in 2 gunships to pick him up and Esdeath up. Esdeath, you are charged with setting up a base behind the inner walls, we are going to need a proper landing area for our forces. Naruto said as Esdeath nodded and boarded one of the gunships, while Naruto boarded the other. Deep inside the Executor a few hours later. Deep within the massive warship was a large room and in the middle of it was a large Bacta tank. There were many medical droids and medical-related machinery in the room. The door hissed open as Naruto walked in. "What is the status of our subject?" Naruto asked one of the medical droid. "My lord, we have been able to regrow the subject's upper body and the organs, however his arms and legs we were unable to, due to them already being destroyed. The subject should be waking up now." The droid said, and just like that, the being in the Bacta tank woke up. His yellow eyes scanned the room and landed on Naruto, and he sneered. "GD," the being said with a bit of hate, he had always hated the GD. "So you're awake, good." Naruto said, walking up to the Bacta tank. "Release me, you GD scum." The being said, but started to cough uncontrollable. It tried to use his hand to stop the coughing, but found that his hands were cut off. Then he remembered. "Kenobi, I will hunt you down." He thought. "Kenobi is dead." Naruto said, reading his thought. "What do you mean dead? What has happened during my absences?" he demanded. "What happened? Did the Sith win the Clone Wars? Did they lose? First off, you have been in this Bacta tank for more than 620 years, it was a miracle that you survived your fight with Kenobi. Secondly, the Sith lost the Clone Wars, but also the Republic, and lastly, I am not a GD, I am a Sith." Naruto answered. "What? But how did the Sith lose when you, a Sith, is standing before me?" He asked, and so Naruto began to tell the being of what happened during his absence. How the Sith lost. How the Republic lost. How Sidious used him. How Sidious came to power. He told him everything. In the end, the Binjing understood all. "Sidious, you were the one who caused the GD and the Galactic Council to kill my people. It is you I should hate, but you are already dead," he thought as he started to let go of his hate. Clearing his mind, he looked at the Sith before him. "What do you want?" he asked Naruto. Naruto smirked. "You were a brilliant general during your time in the Clone Wars and on your home planet, but the army you were given was ineffective." Naruto answered. "What of it? You have a massive army of clones and much better armies of droids. What do you need from me?" he asked. "I want you to be a general once again. You have the heart of one and you are ruthless as well, but I know that you can do much more than just kill. You can do better. Why to lead an army of clones and droids that are far better than the ones you led? You can better than just kill mindlessly. Why not help me and my followers to create an empire that will last for eons to come? Help me unite this galaxy and bring peace to war-torn worlds and make sure that people don't suffer the same fate as your lover and your people did when you were still well not like this. Besides, I need generals for my armies, good generals." Naruto said. He saw how the being was deep in thought before he spoke. "Very well, but I will not stand for incompetence," he said. Naruto chuckled at that. "Of course I wouldn't expect anything less from you, General Grievous," Naruto said, walking out as he walked out the room, leaving the medical droids to give Grievous new arms and legs. Hours later, landing area. The landing area was filled with many transports and a base was already under construction. Esdeath was simply there as an overseer. "General, you might want to see this," a clone said as he handed her a datapad. Looking over the information on the datapad, Esdeath smirked. "You, follow me," Esdeath ordered as she got on a speeder bike, with the clone getting on one as well and following after his general. According to the report Esdeath had just received, some boy was able to turn into a Titan and back into a human. Now he was surrounded by his own commander's forces and they were ready to kill him. "Eren Yeager, are you or are you not an enemy of humanity?" Commander Kits asked Eren, who was being defended by Armin and Mikasa. Eren couldn't remember a thing. Did he turn into a Titan? What did that mean? Was he an enemy? No. He wasn't an enemy. He wanted to kill all those Titans. Just as he was about to answer, two strange machines stopped right in front of them and no one even saw the coming due to their speed. The two users were a man in strange armor and a woman with dark robes. "I am afraid that boy will be coming with me," Esdeath said as the clone pulled out his blaster and took cover behind his speeder bike. Kits took a step back. It was that woman. She had some strange powers regarding eyes and he did not want to test her powers. "Stand back. This is an affair of our own military. You have no power here." Kit still went on. He feared what he couldn't understand, and right now there was a human who could turn into a Titan, something he could not understand. "Go ahead and try it. The soldier behind me has a weapon that is light years ahead of anything you can field. He has been trained in warfare before he was even born. His aim is the best, just like his father's, and his armor can deflect those bullets of yours. He is a superhuman compared to you and your men. I don't even need to fight you, he alone can take your men on, so go ahead, try to attack us," Esdeath said as the clone readied his weapon. Kits was going to give the order to fire, but stopped as a gunship landed right in the middle of him and his target. The doors to the gunship opened to reveal more of those white armored soldiers and a strange figure. The figure was 7'1" and had armor everywhere, even his faceplate had armor. His arms and legs were all robotic. "General Grievous, so it seems like you have been revived." Esdeath said spoke to the once feared general. Grievous studied her. He didn't know her, but he was given information and news as to where they were at. He was indeed surprised to find that he was in a new galaxy with people that had strange powers. "Indeed, though I would have hoped to have been revived much quicker, but now that I have, the name Grievous shall echo throughout the galaxy." Haha, the good general said, before he gave out a hacking cough. "Indeed, you even cough like your old self from what I have learned from the databanks about you," Esdeath said amusingly. Grievous snarled. "Enough of this, we have to deal with these people first," he said, turning around. The soldiers looked into Grievous' yellow eyes. He was indeed something you would see in a nightmare. I advise you stand down, or else you will feel my wrath," Grievous said as he reached for the 4 lightsabers he was given. "Why don't the 3 of you get in? Grievous will take care of this," Esdeath said to Iran and his friends, who looked a bit afraid seeing that they were asked to get in that flying thing. "Don't worry about it, the first ride's always the worst," one of the clones said. Nodding, they entered the gunship with the rest clones. The gunship took off, heading back to the base. Kits couldn't do anything but watch. "Wasn't that easy now?" "Ha cough," Grievous said as he coughed. Kits by that time had enough. Grievous seeing that grabbed 2 of his lightsabers before his 2 arms spilled. Now he had 4 arms and had all 4 of his sabers out. Spinning them wildly as they hit the ground, causing sparks to fly off, Kits being the coward he is, ordered his men to fire. All guns fire on Grievous, who easily blocked all bullets thanks to his lightsabers. "You'll have to do better than that," Grievous said, charging forward as Kit soldiers moved in to attack him. One by one, Grievous easily dispatched them, brutally killing them with either his sabers or his foots. "I have to say, your men are more incompetent than a bunch of droids I led back in my time," Grievous taunted Kits as he approached him. "No. Stay back. Stay back," Kit said as he moved back. Grievous however kept moving forward and raised his saber. "General, I believe that you have made your point," Esdeath said, stopping Grievous from killing the poor man who pissed himself. Putting his sabers away, he approached Esdeath. "Now that they have been dealt with, we should head back to base and see to it that our foothold is ready with haste," Grievous said, before looking at the clone and chuckling. "Hard to believe that now I also command clones. I used to kill them when I was part of the Sys, but they were better warriors than the droids I was given," Grievous said as the clone raised an eyebrow behind his helmets. "Indeed," Esdeath said. From what she had learned, Grievous was far worse than she was when she was still under control by the Empire. Where she had killed hundreds, Grievous killed thousands. He was also known as the GD killer due to him killing GDs at a scale never seen before. From the lowliest of the younglings to the highest of masters, Grievous' name inspired both fear and praise from enemies and allies alike. Even after his death, people still feared his name, and even others tried to copy him. One such man was an Imperial researcher by the name of Silo V, a humanoid male doctor who cybernetically enhanced himself into an immortal system, capable of assuming another body when the previous one died. Naruto however hunted down the humanoid male doctor and killed him. Knowing that he could just take another body, Naruto hunted down all no bases of the doctor and eliminated any way for him to return. "I guess you will be walking back to base," Esdeath said as she boarded her speeder as the clone boarded his own. The general nodded before Esdeath and the clone took off, leaving Grievous. "This world seems to be infested by these massive things called Titans, and they seem to some form of intelligence. This reminds me of Kaylee," Grievous said to himself before shaking his head. No, the past should remain where it was, buried. Yet he could not help but think that he failed his people and the one he loved. He was once Kaiman Jai Shilal, but he gave up that name when Rondarelij Kummer died. Maybe he chose the wrong side to fight for. Would his late lover have approved of his actions? Was it time for him to stop his grieving? He did not know the answers to his questions, but maybe, just maybe this was his second chance. If so, then he would seize it. With those thoughts, the good general started to make his way back. Interesting, his DNA seems to have been altered by this strand. As you can see here, this strand is not like the rest, it's completely different. Also, it seems like the strand is produced within or near the spinal cord. A medical droid said as it seemed a holograph view of Iran's DNA. Armin and Mikasa both marveled at the sight of the strange and unknown technology. It was all so new to them. Machines that moved on their own and even fought on their own, an army of clones and people with strange abilities. That Esdeath woman, she could use the element of ice like it was nothing, and that strange metal machine that saved them, it looked like a machine, but it also looked very different, and it felt alive. Is it worth it? Grievous said, walking in with his hands behind his back. Well, there is nothing special other than the fact that you can turn into a titan, but according to the data we have gathered on these titans, they have regeneration and can only be killed by severing the brain from the rest of the body. However, according to the data on the special titans we have collected by eyewitnesses, these special titans have different powers, they have more intelligence, which means that they are indeed humans in their titans forms. However, they have nothing that can be a threat to our forces. These Titans were made with the mindset that technology won't advance. The droid said. That is impossible, the progress of technology cannot be stopped, it can only be suppressed. Grievous said. But why would anyone do that? It would only serve to lead to keeping humanity behind. Armin said. The thought of humans themselves keeping the progress of humanity behind was a betraying thought. Boy, there are many reasons why they would do that. Many do it for keeping power or to control the people. People are greedy and everyone is capable of betraying others. Grievous said, starting to cough. Armin was lost in his thoughts as he wondered why people would do something like that. Mikasa was thinking something else. Was that man who saved her with these people as well? The door opened again and in walked the same person that saved her. General, I have new orders for you. Naruto said. And what would those be? Grievous asked. He wasn't going to be anyone's lapdog from now on. His loyalty would be earned. Simple orders, General, you are given command of the droid armies on this planet and are charged with cleansing this planet of these titans and even those that are shapeshifters that do not cooperate with you. Naruto said. You give me a task like that and give me a droid army? Grievous asked. He was a bit outraged by that fact. This droid army is far more intelligent than that you led. They are stronger and they will do as they are told and they won't fail you, they haven't failed me or the other generals. Rest assured, you will be given the best of the best and if you need more, all you have to do is ask. Naruto said. He would give the good general the best of the best, including droids and weapons of the finest quality. Very well, but I will require a few droids of my own designs. Grievous stated. When he was part of the CIS, all he had were the droids he was given, but now, he was also given the industrial capacity to request any and all kind of weapon and droids and even clones at his command like all other generals. He had actual power, in both political and military terms. Very well, it will be done. He said as he made his way out. What about us? Armin asked Naruto. Naruto looked over the three. He could sense the blonde boy's fears, however he could also sense a great mind behind his. He would make a great officer or even an admiral once he has had enough experience. Naruto thought. Looking over towards the other boy, he could feel great hate within him, but it was towards the Titans. He was simple-minded and naive. He could be a good warrior and a leader, but he is single-minded and sees the world as black and white. If he doesn't learn that, then he will die. Naruto thought. A soldier who couldn't learn was not a soldier at all. Turning his gaze over to the girl, he was a bit surprised to find that it was the same girl he saved. She is a survivor, a warrior and a fighter. She will make an excellent leader, but she lacks purpose, maybe I can change that. Naruto thought. All soldiers within these walls that belong to this human settlement are now soldiers of the Empire. You as well and you all will be sorted out and sent to positions that fits them the best. This settlement and planet is now part of the Empire. Anyone who doesn't agree to that will be executed. Make no mistake. Humanity is not going to die out. There are other planets with human life that have flourished. A few losses on this world will mean nothing to me. Naruto said coldly. He wasn't a saint, nor was he a hero. The world wasn't black or white as many would think. He might have been more than a Sith, but a saint wasn't one of them. Armin and Eren both tensed up. Mikasa however was completely calm. The question now is, what do you three want? Naruto asked them. Armin and Eren were not too sure what to do. However, Mikasa was going over her whole life. She had lived for once person who could not even understand her own feelings. Maybe it was time for a change. I'll join. She said, stepping forward. Armin and Eren were both shocked. But Mikasa, you don't even know anything about them. They could be the ones who created the Titans. Eren said. Naruto shook his head. Titans are inferior compared to my forces. I have no reason for the creation such mindless beings. Naruto said. Then he turned towards Mikasa. Why do you want to join? Naruto asked. I want to do something more than just kill Titans. She stated, again shocking Eren and Armin. Mikasa. You took an oath to defend the king and humanity. Are you saying you're going to betray that oath? Eren yelled as Armin just stood back. Mikasa turned towards Eren and looked at him with a blank look. I did take that oath, but I won't be defending the king. The king who rules this settlement only sits back and watches the slaughter of his own people. I will defend not just humanity, but all those innocent. I will betray that oath if I have to. Mikasa answered. Traitor. Eren said. The one he thought as a sister had just betrayed the cause they took an oath for, an oath to defend the king and to save humanity. I am no traitor. Mikasa yelled back. Shocking both Armin and Eren, they had never seen Mikasa that angry. I have not betrayed anyone, if anyone has, it's you Eren. You might have taken that oath, but all you care about is killing titans, you won't even allow anyone to stand in the way of your goal. You endanger more lives than save them. Remember when you lead the charge when the wall was breached? Half of the platoon was killed because all you wanted to kill were titans. The safety of your comrades was of no concern to you, was it? Mikasa asked with cold eye. Eren shut his mouth. It was true. During that time, all he was thinking about was killing titans. He didn't even think about his comrades. The only person he did save was Armin, and that was when Armin was almost eaten. Come on guys, this is no time to fight. Armin tried to play the diplomat. No, it's time he learned that the world doesn't revolve him. People die Eren. People lose their loved ones. Hell, most people lost their families well before the titans broke the wall. I would know, Mikasa said. I think that is enough. Mikasa was it. I will have my recruiters have you checked up. We need to know your strengths and weakness. You will be given proper training, equipment and knowledge. Judging by the results, your position will be determined. Naruto said as he looked at the other two. You have the choice to join my forces, however if you do not, I would advise you do not oppose my forces then. That way you won't have to die. Naruto said. He would at least give them the choice to live or die. Follow me. Naruto said as he made his way out, with Mikasa following him. Eren just kept thinking of what he really wanted. Armin wondered if joining this empire would be the right choice. Across the galaxy. This is outrageous. How can they stand by and watch as the world is destroyed? Yelled Arisa, the Asari counselor. Shepard and his crew had just returned and what they had discovered. What they had discovered was something that could chance the tide of the war against the Reapers. Before them had arrived a fleet that was far stronger than anything the entire combined might of the Alliance. The next they learned was that the fleet was crewed by clones. They had armies of clones and armies of droids as well, but they refused to aid them. Counselor Anderson, are you sure that this fleet and army is not a secret kept by your race? Eschiel, the Solarian counselor asked. It was no secret that the human counselor was not trusted by many, not after what Udina did. Are you suggesting that we would hide such valuable forces in the face of utter destruction? Anderson asked, a bit angry at what the Solarian counselor said. You could have, like that bastard Udina. Arisa stated with a growl. Counselors, please, this is no time to accuse each other. The Reapers must be stopped with or without this new force, and we have a fleet combined of all races present here. With that we can defeat the Reapers. After that we can determine what to do with this new force. Quintius, the Turian counselor, said. He was more open-minded when it came to working with other species of the galaxy. Counselor Quintius is right, we need to deal with the Reapers first. We cannot afford to deal with this new force. For now they pose no threat. Shepard said. Sir, the fleet has arrived. A guard said, announcing the arrival of the Alliance fleet. Well then, I guess we should the Citadel ready. Anderson said, as everyone agreed. Looking over the fleet via the holographic image of the fleet. So, that is that new fleet. It doesn't look that big to me. Arisa mocked. With all due respect, you haven't seen that fleet up close. They have ships that dwarf our largest warships. Our ships won't stand a chance against even one of these ships. Shepard said, pointing at one of the dreadnoughts. That ship has more firepower than half of our own fleet. Shepard said. Arisa ignored Shepard and his warning. But Satel and Fu. So that's the so-called Alliance fleet. I am not impressed. Fu said. As she and Satel looked on at the Alliance fleet. Indeed, they have many battlecruisers, but they are as large as our own cruisers. They have quite a few small fast attack vessels, but they are of no concern. Admiral, tell the rest of the fleet to stand by for hyperspace. We will attack once the Reapers and the Alliance fleet start fighting amongst each other. Then we will show them the might of our empire, we will crush them all in a single attack. Satel said darkly. The Alliance fleet was a threat. If she and Fu began there, the clone commander said. Let them try. Root out these revolutionaries and wipe them out. No prisoners. Hinata ordered coldly. She might not be a Sith, but she could use the Force to some extent and was one of the best warriors out there, and she would not allow the peace of their capital planet be ruined by a civil war. Yes, General. Ending at a rapid rate, and the colonization of green planets would begin soon. Allowing for more resources to be excavated deep inside a mountain. His comrade answered, however just as the next question was about to be asked, their so spoke up. They shouldn't have. This place is secret and only known to a few. Someone said. His leg. Looking down he saw an injured member of the Revolutionary Army. Help please, the wounded man said. The officer in response pulled out his blaster and shot the man, killing him. Nothing personal, just following orders. The clone officer said as he sheathed his blaster and walking away to give his report. But Hinata. So out, and we have just taken a major stronghold of the Revolutionary Army. The officer said. Good, your next orders will be dispatched later. You're dismissed. Hinata said as the clone officer saluted and walked out. I can't believe it, first Akane now Shiel. Leon said in outrage. Akane was the first one to leave, and now Shiel had betrayed them by giving the Empire the location of the Revolutionary Army's secret bases. This attack not oppose the Empire, they won't come after us. Najenda said as she leaned back in her chair. So you want us to just abandon the revolutionaries? Leon asked, a look of betrayal on her face. No, I am merely saying that we should stand down for now. We do not have the manpower or the firepower to oppose the Empire. We need to tell our, they have worked rapidly to fix the economical and social state of this world. The people are happy and content, and army was starting to fall apart, and even her own little group was falling apart with the betrayal of Shiel. Leaning back, she fell in Fu. Order all ships to jump to hyperspace, it's time we eliminated them all. Fu ordered as the hold, since the power output of those beams is not great, by our standards that is, but even then our ship's own armor will stand. Armor made from frick, it was a nearly indestructible metallic compound, in fact, when the Death Star blew up the planet by the Death Star. If something could survive taking a hit from the Death Star, then it would surely stand up against all. It's time we put these ships to good use. They haven't seen combat since 600 years, hell I am still surprised that they held together for that long, I guess frick is no joke. Fu said. And again, these ship designs were made by the Sith, and if there is one thing I know about Sith, they build things to last. Satel said. Fu nodded in agreement. She had learned about the Sith, and they indeed build things to last. All ships jumping to hyperspace. The officer called out as the entire fleet entered hyperspace. When we drop out of hyperspace, I want all bombers and fighters to launch. Frigates and corvettes are to engage the enemy at close range, cruisers are to assist the battlecruisers at long range, and dreadnoughts are to lead each battle group. You have your orders after that. Satel said over the hologram as all ships were preparing to launch the attack. We are exiting hyperspace. An officer reported, and just like that, all the ships exited out of hyperspace. Launch all fighters and bombers. Satel ordered. Launch all fighters and bombers. The admiral repeated her orders to all other vessels. The old Imperial fighters and bombers were decommissioned, and in turn, old Republic fighters and bombers were brought in as they were far more effective than the weak and cheap TIE fighters. The Republic's old fighters and bombers were updated and upgraded, even old abandoned blueprints were recovered and are now in use. This is Red Leader standing up, sorry, but I just couldn't help myself, he. The lead pilot of an attack group said. All of the pilots were eager to see action, and along with them were even more droid fighters going them in on the fight. Understood, you may begin your attack. The admiral said as he gave the go for the attack. Normandy. Ah, Commander, we have multiple ships exiting out of. I don't know what they are exiting out of. Joker said as he called Shepard up. I think I know who those ships belong to, Shepard said just as the ships appeared. The Empire, what the hell are they doing here? Joker asked. We got another problem, a radar operator said as he pulled up a large screen. The screen showed lots and lots of red dots. That's a lot of fighters, Joker said as everyone's jaws dropped. How the hell was it possible for anyone to field so many attack crafts? Enemy vessels are coming closer and closer, they don't look friendly, and also, some of the Reapers are breaking formation and heading for those ships. Joker said as they all watched as a few Reapers. But the fleet. General, we have Reapers heading our way. The Admiral stated. Order our bombers to engage them, if our intelligence is ready, then the Reapers have only one weapon. Use our ion cannons to bring down any shields they might have, our bombers engage them. Have our ships engage them as well, do not let them get close. Satel ordered. While their ships might be made out of strong element, it was only used in the more vital areas of the ship. You heard her, men, fire those ion cannons. The Admiral ordered as the ships aimed their ion cannon as they let loose a barrage of ion blasts at the Reapers, who started to slow down by the loss of power. All units engage. A bomber squadron leader stated. Let's teach those tin cans how to really fight. Another pilot said as his comrades cheered. The Reapers already began to suffer as the Empire's ship started to let loose a barrage of red turbolaser, bringing down a few Reapers, with the bombers coming in. This wasn't anything the Reapers have ever encountered. They had never fought a race that could fight back and win. The only ones that even got close were wiped out thousands of years ago, but now they were losing. They felt something they haven't felt for a long time, fear. The Reapers are falling back, orders. The Admiral asked. Push past them and start engaging the rest of the enemies, wipe them out, all of them. Satel said. Also, where the hell is Fu? Satel asked. Ah, it seems like General Fu has joined the battle, in her starfighter. The Admiral said as Satel sighed and pressed a button on her arm guard. Fu, why are you fighting out there? She asked her. Ah, come on, let me have some fun. Fu responded as she blasted away at a ship that tried to return fire, but was simply too slow for that. Fu, you are a general, and I know that leading from the front is a great example for a leader. You need to stay here and issue out commands. The fleet is too big for a single general to lead. Sattel said. We have ship captains and admirals for that. Fu responded as she dodged fire from some alliance fighters. Fine, do what you want, I'll handle the rest. Sattel said, cutting the transmission. Are you sure that's wise? The admiral asked. It's fine, her forces pressed the attack. But Naruto. The king has been removed, however some nobles have rebelled, only of the rebellious elements have originated from. Esdeath said, reading off the datapad. I see. Grievous has been doing well with the extermination of the titans outside the wall. He has been making good progress and is nearing. Oh? And tell me, why are you placing me to do that? She asked him, even though she knew why he chose her. Well, my dear, you are far more effective at putting down rebellions. Naruto said with smirk as he got up and kissed her, weighing her hips as she left. Naruto just chuckled at her action. Esdeath was just as beautiful as she was deadly. As put it down. A few broken remnants remain, but I have confidence in her. Naruto said to himself. It's time I expand my empire. With Sattel and Fu taking care of things at their part and Hinata further solidifying. With that, we will be able to build starships without the need of the Star Forge, and after that, the empire will be conquered. All in due time. He thought darkly. Nothing would stop him in conquest. We are taking it pods. A clone shouted out as he and his brothers ran for the pods, but were thrown back as the entire section of the ship was destroyed. At that point the Star Destroyer's core was breached as the bow of the ship broke off from the midsection, and with that, the ship blew up in a ball of fire. With Naruto. So, we lost a Star Destroyer? And as for his midichlorians. His mastery of the forces was unmatched by all. He could crush starships with the force and elements. He would lose many soldiers if he wasn't careful. He had already lost 50 men to only 6 of these benders. Some of these benders could be turned to his cause, but most would not. As one side they would fight like better small assault crafts and ships. We have limited frick since it is a rare element that is only found in our home galaxy. He also needed as many people as he could in his empire. After all, droids weren't the best thing for building ships. Over this planet. He also didn't want to cause too much destruction, as it would cause the people to fear him and his rule. Let us live. A soldier said as he begged on his knees as the bodies of his comrades laid before him, frozen. Its way up the man's body. Please. The soldier begged again. Esdeath merely laughed. Let me think about it. No, Esdeath said, as ice covered the man's body, freezing him and then shattering into many pieces. Turning around, she started to head back. Behind her, you could see an entire section of the town was frozen under a glacier. For her thoughts went to Naruto and her. She giggled like a pervert. Do you think she's okay? A clone asked that was following her. Don't worry about it, she's not the only one who does that, his comrade said with a sigh. But Grievous. General, we have eliminated all titans in the area. A battle droid said as it reported to the good general. Ah, General, are you okay? The droid asked. The general growled and mumbled under his breath. Just send that report. Grievous said, scaring the droid. Roger, Roger. The droid said, as it was strange. It was gray in color, and it seemed metallic and was powered by a blue light that seemed to appear from its back. They followed their gaze at it as the strange object descended towards the royal palace of the Fire Lord. The strange object landed and strange men wearing white armor rushed out and lined up. Just then, a man wearing even stranger armor and mask walked out the strange object. They saw Fire Nation soldiers rush out and surround the unknown. Halt. You will surrender or die. A firebender said as he stood ready to attack. Naruto just chuckled. Surrender to you? Ha. Why would I surrender when I hold all the cards? And die. Like the likes of you can kill me. Naruto mocked the benders. The bender in response sent a blast of fire at him, however something remarkable happened. The ball of fire was completely stopped and was floating in midair. How did you? The attacking bender tried to ask, but instead he started to choke and began floating in the air. He tried to free himself from the unseen force, but it was of no use and with a snap, his neck was broken and he fell to the ground, dead. The other soldiers watched, fear in their eyes. They could now see the building dark aura around the unknown man. This man, he was dangerous. Now then, I suggest you surrender, before you all are relieved of your duties. Naruto said darkly, but the firebenders did not comply. They all let loose barrages of fireballs and all kinds of attacks, but all were stopped. I guess surrender was too hard to a choice die. Naruto said as he threw back the fire-based attacks, while using the force to make the attacks more powerful. The firebenders tried to stop the attacks, but it was useless. The force made the attacks more powerful, and as such they were all burned. The people gasped as they watched the royal guards of the palace being killed like they were nothing. The man started to head to the palace as the armored white men followed after him. A few firebenders tried to stop him, but all started to float as he walked past them, and with a snap that echoed through the halls. Reaching to the door of the Fire Lord's room, he used the force and blasted it open. There before him sat the Fire Lord at his throne. "Who dares march into my palace and throne room?" the Fire Lord asked, clearly displeased. "I dare," Naruto said as he stood across the man. "How dare you?" the Fire Lord yelled. "I dare because I am Emperor, ruler of the Infinite Empire and general of many armies. Compared to me, you are nothing more than wannabe ruler," Naruto said as he extended out his hands and unleashed his lighting attack at the Fire Lord. Shocked at how easily the boy had unleashed at him, but he then tried to deflect the lighting at the boy, but something was wrong. This lighting. It was different. It wasn't achieved by using one's inner energy, but it was something completely different and as a result he ended up being shocked, very shocked. "Fool, you cannot bend my lighting, there is nothing you can do against me," Naruto said. He might have sounded arrogant, but he knew that no one could match him in power. The Fire Lord screamed in pain as he was assaulted by lighting. The lighting finally stopped as he tried to stand. "What do you want?" he asked him. "I want you to step down and put your nation under my rule for good," Naruto asked, with a smile and closed eyes. To anyone it was an innocent face, but to those who knew him better, it was not. "Never," the Fire Lord said as he finally got up, but soon he heard a hissing sound and a strange sword rammed through his gut. He looked down, blood started to leak out of his mouth as he started to fall, but found himself caught by Naruto. Naruto leaned down to his ears. "Then you are relieved of your duties as Fire Lord," Naruto whispered as he deactivated his lightsaber and let the body of the Fire Nation fall to the floor. The fire in the throne room died down with the lack of Fire Lord keeping it going. "Sweep through this palace, find all firebenders and eliminate them. Find all political enemies and eliminate them. Find all those who oppose us and eliminate them, all of them," Naruto ordered to his clone troopers who stood at attention and carried out their orders as more ships landed and clones rushed out, all of them securing the palace grounds. The Fire Nation soldiers tried to stop the clones, however the number of clones outnumbered them 10 to 1 and as such, they were overrun and easily killed. In a matter of few minutes, the entire palace was under his control. "Citizens of the Fire Nation, you are all now citizens of the Empire," Naruto said as his voice echoed throughout the capital of the Fire Nation. The people in the capital looked around to find the voice, but found that they couldn't. What was this empire? "Your Fire Lord has been disposed of and is now under my leadership. From here on out, the Fire Nation is dead. What exists is a state of the empire. An empire far greater than your little nation. You will either submit to my rule or you will die as traitors of the empire." His voice echoed throughout the capital as people started to murmur again, and some even starting to fear and a few starting to already have their minds set on rebelling, most of them being benders, but just then, a shadow covered the sun. Looking up, their eyes were wide as dinner plates and jaws on the ground. It was like nothing they had ever seen. It was a massive flying object, so big that it blocked the sun and prevented any sunlight to fall on the capital. Above them was a star destroyer, not that they knew what it was. Naruto just smirked. He knew that this show of power would silence any would-be rebels, but even he knew that blood would be spilled, it already had been. So this part ends here. Alright, that's it for today's video guys, let me know in the comments section how was the story, and also don't forget to like, share and subscribe. I will meet you in another video, bye bye.